Michael Carrick has laid down a marker for Manchester United's 2026-27 season, declaring that his side is ready to compete for every trophy available as the club enters his first full campaign in permanent charge. Writing in Manchester United's official yearbook, Carrick stated plainly, "We know we've got what it takes to beat the best teams in this league." He continued, "Now it's about doing that over a full Premier League campaign, while also fighting for every trophy available to us." This is not a passing comment. It is a written declaration published by the club itself, aimed directly at supporters ahead of a season that will test whether last term's turnaround was a genuine shift or a short-term spike in form. The context behind this statement matters. Carrick took interim charge of Manchester United in January 2026, following the dismissal of Ruben Amorim after a turbulent stint at the club. At the point of Amorim's departure, United were sitting in 6th place in the Premier League table. Under Carrick, that position changed rapidly. The club secured qualification for the Champions League with 2 games still to play, eventually finishing the season in 3rd place. During Carrick's 17-game spell in interim charge, no Premier League team won more matches than Manchester United's 12. That level of form, sustained over more than 4 months, was the primary reason the club's hierarchy handed him a 2-year permanent contract in May 2026. Before going further into what comes next for this squad, this is the exact kind of breakdown you'll find on United Flow every single week. If you want every Manchester United story covered with facts, quotes, and analysis instead of noise, hit subscribe right now. Drop a like on this video, and tell us in the comments whether you believe Carrick's ambition is realistic for this squad. Your input shapes what we cover next, so don't scroll past without leaving your prediction below. Carrick has been open about what changed inside the club during those early weeks of his tenure. Reflecting on his return, he said, "During the first few days after I returned to the club, myself and the coaching staff talked to the players about the huge opportunity we all have to represent Manchester United." He added that the players certainly did that and more, pointing to the scale of the turnaround as evidence of a squad that responded to a clear message. This is a manager who inherited a group sitting outside the European qualification places and turned them into the 3rd best team in the Premier League within a matter of months. Carrick has also been candid about the standard he expects going forward. In his yearbook message, he wrote, "We have a huge responsibility here to win and play exciting football." He followed this with a statement that leaves no ambiguity about his intentions, that never changes, and we should always be striving to compete for the biggest trophies. He acknowledged that United are not yet the finished product, noting, "There are steps to take, but we are in a good place to take them." This balance ambition paired with an acknowledgement of work still required has defined his public messaging since taking permanent charge. Not everyone at the club shares the same level of confidence about an immediate title challenge. Wayne Rooney, the former United captain and record goalscorer, has urged supporters to temper their expectations for the coming campaign. Rooney said, "We all want them to win the league, but you have to be realistic." He added that competing directly with Manchester City and Arsenal for the title is going to be very difficult, suggesting instead that a repeat top 4 finish combined with a domestic cup would represent a more realistic marker of progress for 2026-27. Rooney's comments stand in direct contrast to Carrick's own public position, creating 2 very different expectations for how this season should be judged. Carrick has not shifted his stance in response. His yearbook message makes clear that the club should always be striving to compete for the biggest trophies, regardless of external caution. This tension between ambition and realism is not just talk, it is being tested by what happens in the transfer market this summer. Manchester United have not made a signing as of the time of Carrick's yearbook message, but the club is believed to be closing in on a deal for Atalanta and Brazil midfielder Ederson. This move comes as United look to fill the gap left by Casemiro's departure from the squad. Beyond Ederson, several other midfield targets have been linked with the club this summer, including Real Madrid's Aurélien Tchouaméni, Bournemouth's Alex Scott, and Chelsea's André Santos. Each of these names represents a different profile and price point, but all point toward the same priority: rebuilding depth in central midfield after the exit of a player who had been central to the squad for several seasons. The scale of this rebuild matters because of what United are trying to achieve simultaneously. The club has not won the Premier League title since 2013, and it has not lifted a major trophy since the FA Cup success in 2023-24 under Erik ten Hag. Carrick's own words tie these two threads together directly. He said, "I cannot wait to lead the group forward next season and for those special European nights to return to Old Trafford." He added, "We are ready to kick on and give you more of the great moments that United are all about." The return of Champions League football to Old Trafford is not just a competitive objective, it is being framed by the manager himself as central to restoring the identity of the club. If you're the kind of United fan who wants to know about every one of these transfer names the moment there's an update, this is why United Flow exists. We track every deal, every yearbook quote, every managerial statement, so you don't have to piece it together from a dozen different sources. Subscribing means you'll be the first to know when Ederson's move is confirmed, when Tchouaméni's situation develops, or when Carrick makes his next public statement about this squad. This channel is built for fans who want depth, not just headlines, so if that's you, make sure you're subscribed before the next update drops. The scheduling for the season ahead adds further weight to these expectations. Manchester United's first Premier League fixture of the 2026-27 campaign is set to be an away trip to newly promoted Hull City on August 22. 8 days later, the club returns to Old Trafford to face Ipswich Town. These opening fixtures will offer the first real indication of whether the form Carrick generated during his interim spell can be sustained from the very start of a full campaign, rather than emerging only after a mid-season managerial change. Carrick himself has acknowledged that consistency across 38 league matches, rather than a shorter run of form, is the real test his side now faces. Carrick's confidence is also rooted in specific moments from his interim tenure that he has pointed to directly. His first 2 matches in temporary charge resulted in wins over both Manchester City and Arsenal, 2 of the clubs he now says United must be able to compete with over a full season. Carrick has described the atmosphere generated by those results as a unique buzz, and has said that recreating that feeling consistently is what could define a stronger campaign in 2026-27. He has also noted that what pleased him most was not just the early results themselves, but the way the squad backed it up and kept progressing after those initial wins, rather than treating them as isolated highlights. Taken together, the picture for Manchester United heading into 2026-27 is one of genuine transformation paired with an open question. A manager who steered the club from 6th to 3rd in the space of months now holds a 2-year contract and a public mandate to compete for every available trophy. A club legend has urged caution, pointing to top 4 and a domestic cup as the more realistic marker. And a transfer window that has yet to produce a single completed signing will likely determine which version of this season actually plays out, the one Carrick is promising, or the one Rooney considers more probable. That's the full picture of where Manchester United stand right now, heading into a season carrying more weight than most in recent memory. If this breakdown gave you the facts you came for, Show it with a like, leave your honest prediction for United's final league position in the comments, and hit subscribe on United Flow so you don't miss a single update as this transfer window and season unfold. Share this with a fellow United fan who needs the full context, not just a headline. We'll see you in the next one.